The city below my office sparkled like a necklace of deceit. I used to call that view ours. Aaron and I had built Callaway Luxe from nothing, just late nights, borrowed loans, and pure belief. He managed finance, I handled design. Childhood sweethearts turned business legends. But that day, I didn't feel pride. I felt trapped, glass walls pressing in, success strangling me where love used to breathe. Aaron had become predictable, pure to a fault. He still kissed my forehead every morning. He still texted reminders to eat. He still believed in the woman who'd stopped believing in him. And then there was Noah, 26, brilliant, charming, too confident for his youth. The first day he handed me a report, I noticed the way he looked at me, not boss, not mentor, but a secret he wanted to unwrap. That night, I checked my phone more than usual. One text blinked. Presentation fixed, boss. You make impossible things happen. Flattery. Meaningless, but it warmed something cold inside me. I smiled, though Aaron sat right beside me at dinner, trying to talk about our anniversary plans. It started small, inside jokes, late meetings, coffee breaks that stretched into hours. The scent of Noah's cologne followed me home. The thrill made me reckless, the attention made me ruthless. With Noah, I felt powerful again. With Aaron, I felt ordinary. The first time Noah kissed me, it was behind my locked office door after a long meeting. My heart didn't race with love, it raced with fear and addiction. Soon, we were inseparable. Business trips turned into escapes. I bought him things, an Omega watch, a designer suit, little luxuries that matched the lie we were building. At home, Aaron remained calm, trusting, kind. His love smothered me like sunlight on skin that craved the dark. Still, the guilt grew. A tiny crack beneath perfection. I thought I could control it. I thought no one would ever know. But guilt always finds a leak, and soon, the walls began to whisper. Whispers became evidence. A board member mentioned seeing Noah and me at a private resort. My secretary's eyes avoided mine. The air in the office thickened with rumors. Then came Aaron's silence. He didn't ask questions. He waited, patient, surgical, to find the proof. The night it came, he simply placed his phone on the table, photographs, hotel bills, text logs. His hands trembled, but his voice didn't. You gave him everything we built, he said. Not love, control. That single sentence shattered me. I begged. Cried. Tried to explain. But nothing I said could erase that stillness in his eyes. By morning, Noah was escorted out. The board held a meeting without me. My position was reviewed. My empire, stripped like skin from bone. And Noah, the man I ruined everything for, lost his job, his career, his ambition. He vanished for weeks, then crawled back into my life, desperate. He blamed me for everything. He told me he got blacklisted, that no one would hire him, that people called him the boy who broke a marriage for a promotion. For the first time, I didn't see a lover. I saw a parasite gasping for air. Help me, he said. You owe me. But I had nothing left to give. My savings froze. My name rotted in newspapers. My own assistants refused to meet my eyes. Noah began drinking. He called at 2 a.m, screaming that I'd destroyed him. I hung up every time, but his voice drilled into my skull, a ghost I created. I used to build empires. Now I build coffins, for my marriage, my career, my lover, and my soul. A week after the exposure, my world stilled. Phones stopped ringing. Friends stopped answering. The company's notice reached me through a curt email, resignation accepted. Possessions must be cleared by Monday. By Tuesday, a new CEO had already been appointed, Aaron himself. Noah called, begging me to help him get reinstated. You're Emma Callaway, he said. They listen to you. They don't, I whispered. Not anymore. Rumors said Aaron made a few calls, one to every investor, another to a few hiring managers in luxury firms. By Friday, Noah's name was on an internal blacklist sent through quiet channels of corporate courtesy. He called again. "You did this." "No," I said. "He did. Because of me." "You could talk to him," he pleaded. "Make him stop." But Aaron wasn't the man who negotiated mercy. He was the man who built empires from ashes, and this time, the ashes were ours. I moved into a one-room apartment on the city's edge, peeling walls, a leaking tap, and no sound but a clock that seemed louder every night. My designer clothes hung like ghosts in the wardrobe. I couldn't sell them, they felt like evidence. Noah visited once. He'd grown thinner, his eyes sunken, his charm melted into bitterness. "You started all this," he said. "You promised we'd be fine." "I never promised anything," I murmured. I was lying to myself. He slapped the table hard, nearly spilling my tea. "You think he'll forgive you?" "He's ruining my life. I can't find work. I can't even get a reference." I stared at him, not angry, not afraid, just empty. "He's ruining mine too," I said. "You just don't see it yet." When he left, I locked the door and cried until my voice disappeared. I learned of Aaron's actions through whispers. He never confronted me again. Instead, his vengeance unfolded methodically. Noah was audited for falsified travel reimbursements. His diploma was questioned by a hiring board. His social media accounts vanished after a scandalous leak of old messages that painted him manipulative. Every opportunity he reached for slipped away. Within months, he was working night shifts at a warehouse outside the city, where no one recognized him. He sent me one last message. "You destroyed me to save yourself. Hope you're happy in hell." But there was no hell worse than my own. I worked part-time in a boutique that wouldn't even use my name for fear of customers gossiping. When I looked at my reflection under the fluorescent light, I barely recognized myself. At night, I'd check Aaron's social media. He'd rebuilt the company's image, looked healthy, focused, untouched. Sometimes I wondered if he ever thought of me. Sometimes I wished he didn't. Winter came early that year, sharp and colorless. My apartment smelled of mold and instant coffee. The heater barely worked, and sometimes, I slept in my coat. One evening, I saw Noah outside the boutique, waiting by the entrance. His suit was wrinkled, his eyes bloodshot, his hands shaking. The boy who once called me his muse now looked like a vagrant ghost. "You have to talk to him," he muttered. "Aaron? He's killing me, Emma. Every interview, every job, it ends the same." They smile, then suddenly change their minds. I couldn't speak. His voice was slurred with cheap vodka. "I loved you," he said bitterly. "I gave up everything." "You gave up nothing," I answered quietly. "You took what was never yours." For a moment, I feared he would hit me. Instead, he laughed, that dry, dangerous kind of laugh that has no air left in it. "You're right," he said. "And now you've got less than me." He staggered away into the fog. I never saw him again after that night. News spread later that Noah had been arrested for assault during a bar fight. Then came reports of gambling debts, then drugs. His family refused contact. His decline became public entertainment, a short fall from grace that filled gossip columns for a week before the world moved on. I read every line, not because I cared, but because I needed to see where shame eventually led when it ran out of breath. Aaron stayed silent. He never gloated, never reached out. That was his power, the absence of witness. His revenge was not noise, it was erasure. I began to understand that the worst punishment is to keep breathing when your purpose has died. I once had assistants, headlines, a signature worth millions. Now, I avoided my own reflection on the dark window panes of passing cars. No one recognized me anymore. Sometimes I wondered if I even existed. 3 years after the scandal, Aaron remarried. I didn't attend the wedding, of course, but newspapers displayed the photographs, him in a crisp suit, smiling beside a gentle, young woman who'd once been our company's legal advisor. The caption read, "A new beginning for the self-made visionary." I stared at that headline for hours, tracing his smile with trembling fingers. He looked lighter, almost peaceful. I kept the article in a drawer beside unpaid bills and cold tea. Some nights, I'd take it out just to feel pain, to remind myself I could still feel anything. Noah's story ended somewhere in another city, prison or rehabilitation. No one cared enough to confirm. His name vanished online. And my name had become a warning whispered between executives, a ghost story told to ambitious assistants. I had become a cautionary tale. The years blurred into each other. I stopped counting birthdays. I stopped buying calendars. Work came and went, cleaning an office floor once, sorting mail another time. No one asked questions, and I didn't offer answers. Even my voice grew hoarse from disuse. Every now and then, I'd catch a glimpse of Aaron on television. His speeches were calm, his gestures measured. He talked about resilience, leadership, rebuilding after ruin. The audience clapped. I sat in darkness, watching the man who'd once held my hand like a promise. People said he became kinder after everything, more disciplined. That cruelty had passed through him and burned away whatever grief remained. I suppose he healed in the way strong men do, by hardening. I tried to write him letters but never sent them. Some were begging, some simply apologies. Others had nothing but 3 words, I still remember. The landlord knocked one evening. I owed 2 months' rent. I sold all I had left, a silver bracelet, old designer shoes, the last photograph of our wedding. He took it, the frame and all, not knowing what it meant to me. The day the movers took my furniture, I sat on the balcony eating a slice of stale bread, watching the sunset bleed over the skyline. That view had once belonged to me from the top floor of a tower. Now it looked like a stranger's paradise. When night came, I cried only once, a quiet, steady sob that didn't shake my body. It was the sound of surrender. I live near the train tracks now, in a rented room behind a store that sells lottery tickets. The owner, Mrs. Patel, lets me stay because I watch the shop when she steps out. I sleep behind the counter on a narrow bed that creaks with every turn. Noah is gone, no obituary, no mention. Maybe he escaped, maybe he didn't. It makes no difference. Sometimes I dream of Aaron, not as the man who destroyed me, but as the boy who built sandcastles beside me, who promised we'd grow old together. In those dreams, he's still smiling. But when I wake, the silence reminds me he never will again. I've replayed my 5 mistakes over and over, like rosary beads of regret. I took love for granted. I mistook vanity for vitality. I let deceit dress itself as desire. I underestimated the quiet strength of a faithful man. And finally, I believed I could sin and still be loved. Now, I am nothing more than a faded name in an empty room. There is no redemption waiting, no miracle dawn. Only memory, and the slow decay of everything I once was. Each day begins and ends the same way, with me whispering into the dark, not asking for forgiveness, just remembering the life I burned down for nothing. And in that whisper, I hear the faint echo of my husband's voice, saying what I never chose to believe. Some mistakes are too heavy for mercy. The clock ticks. The trains pass. I keep breathing. That is all that's left of Emma Callaway.